Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Sean and Jeff. Today, we're excited to have Austin Waldo as our guest to talk about the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival. Austin is a longtime friend of the show and the founder and event producer for the Texas Woodworking Festival. So welcome back to the show, Austin.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you, and can't believe it's that time of year again.
Yeah, it's like it happens every year or something.
I know, exactly. Well, I'm very excited to talk to you about that. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Sutherland Wells knows that exceptional craftsmanship deserves an exceptional finish. That's why they handcraft their full line of low and VOC exempt finishes and stains using the highest quality, cold-pressed, sustainably grown tung oil. Their unique polymerization process delivers the deep penetrating, grain-enhancing, non-yellowing protection of tung oil, while reducing the drying time, allowing the finish to build a beautiful, durable film. Sutherland Wells, the timeless look of traditional oil made for the modern woodworker, and use code MWA25, that's the numbers 25, for 10% off your first order.
And we'd like to thank Sutherland Wells for their sponsorship of this episode. And with that, let's give our patrons a shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yeah, we'd like to give our big shout out to our Patreon supporters. Today, we're giving that shout out to the Florida School of Woodwork. Everybody involved down there. Thank you for supporting us. We like you all. If you would like to join that entire School of Woodwork in supporting our podcast, you can do so by going to patreon.com/MWA podcast, or you can DM us about a one-time sponsorship, which we've had before, which is kind of nice too.
All right. So what's in the shop? So Sean, what are you working on?
Not much. Since we last talked, my favorite team won a basketball national championship, so that was cool.
Really?
Yeah. Didn't hear the news, did you?
No, I missed that.
That's shocking. But no, nothing else. I mean,
University of Houston ruined my bracket. So anyway.
Yeah. Houston went out early. Duke getting out kind of
screwed
up a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it was UConn did their best.
Yeah.
But that's a dirty team. But they
I did.
We couldn't make it.
I was on a retreat with some of my old fraternity brothers, and we did watch the game, but we lost interest about somewhere in the second period or the second half. Yeah, it's just this is over. Yeah.
It got closer in the end, but you're right. It was about that. Incredible team. Look forward to the future. But no, other than that, the This Very Old House saga is continuing. Splitting time between hanging drywall and painting, which is a very odd thing, but
that's an odd combo.
Well, the two floors are kind of separate in their functions. And so just this past Saturday, actually, I spent hours by myself just priming one room. Good Sherwin-Williams paint. I make no claims about it being anything but great. But in my experience with a wet roller, I couldn't get a 3x4 ish area done before that roller was dry. And so it took me a lot of time to just keep going and going and going. Just environment. I mean, I don't know if it's the heat dries everything out in there. I have no idea about the moisture in the upstairs where we were, but but ongoing. Electric is getting closer and closer to being complete, which is great. But yeah, a lot of here and there going on.
So when can your son move in, do you think?
He's working 12s right now, so I don't know. Like, that kind of went to the wayside briefly. But I mean, if he wanted to, I mean, if the coated primer stuck, and I think it did, we need to paint those walls. But he's got flooring to put in. I mean, it's a couple weekends because the nights are kind of pretty much null at this point. It's not even nights and weekends. It's just I don't know. Like, maybe by May, maybe by the end of May. I don't. It's hard to say.
Okay. Cool. Well, we'll see how that keeps going.
It is a constant on the mind thing. Mm-hmm. Just what can I do next? What's lagging? What can be done? Yeah. We got to before we finish drywalling downstairs, we have to ensure that all exterior walls are insulated downstairs. Yeah. We haven't really done that. But yeah.
So if any of us, including our listeners, buy a house in the greater Toledo area, can we count on you to come by and help us fix it up?
I'm not really into flipping. I have a certain acumen for these things. I'm handy. I'm a big DIY guy.
Okay.
But I will no longer work for free.
Oh,
so
well, all right. Yes.
I mean, I'll lend a helping hand here and there, but if I'm contracted, I might charge it. We shall.
Okay, I got you. I got only for family members,
family and friends, family and friends only. Yeah. Absolutely. And you're all my friends. Yeah. So that's me, Jeff. What about you, man? What are you working on?
I'm just working on some turnings. Got about 8 sets of turnings done for Greg Pennington. He recently hurt his hand. So he, he gave me a call and he said, "Hey,
hopefully nothing serious, is it?"
No, nothing too bad. It just his hand swelled up, and I said, "Yeah, I'll take care of it, no problem."
Yeah,
I got those out, and then
they're beautiful, man, absolutely beautiful. Yeah,
thanks. And then I had a couple other orders that were just single orders from different people, so it ended up being like 14 sets chair legs. So it was just like it's a little bit of a. Then at the same time, I had me at my storage facility that I have all my wood at, everything there. They were like, "Hey, you got to move." They were taking the larger units, combining those into an office and having that at central AC in there. So I had to move not too far, but I had to move all my storage stuff, everything I had. I had like 6 shelves in there, 25 by 30. Little storage area, and so I had to move that to 2 other units, which actually worked out better. But it was an all day thing. I hired a couple guys and we got it knocked out, but it was a lot of grunt work.
Man,
just loading my truck up. I don't know how many loads it took, but the only nice thing about it, the shelves that I have those Husky heavy duty ones you get from Home Depot. I was able to put those on just some rollers and then just roll them right over. So I didn't have to take them apart or not. And it was close by. So, but it was something I didn't want to do.
Right. Are you going to have to move them back when they get the AC stuff done?
No. It's permanent right there.
Okay.
So.
Good.
Yeah. So, and then today I've just been finished up all the turnings. And so I've just been making some jigs. So I got a class at John C. Campbell and Aramont later this year. And so just kind of getting everything ready for that. I got the Appalachian, the slick 6 rocker. So I just kind of want to make some more bending forms.
Okay, cool.
So getting all that. How about you, Kyle?
Just been working on some orders and doing some prototyping on some super secret stuff. So anyway.
Ooh.
We'll see. Cool. We'll see. I will, if my prototype actually works, I'll announce what it is before I get it finalized. If it doesn't work, then I might have to go back to the drawing board. But I got a couple of things running around, and with that, I've been working with my 3D printer, so I'm trying to print some more challenging materials like ASA, which is kind of like ABS, but a little bit stronger, I think. So that's going well so far. But anyway, so we'll see where we go from there. Nice. But I think one of the other things I'm working on is actually trying to do some of the components of my jigs in this ASA or some sort of printable stuff like that, because it's getting to the point now where if I'm going to continue offering my jigs for long term, let's say another 5 years or so, then I got to get out of the business of having to make all the little individual wood components, because it's not such a bad thing to make the little wood components, but then you got to sand them, you got to finish them, you got to do all that kind of stuff. So it starts really dragging. So we'll see how that goes. But anyway,
I like the wooden components though. I'll say that.
I know.
Pretty sweet.
It may be something that I offer is like, hey, here's the base version, and then if you want it with the little wooden components, then you're going to pay a premium, so to speak. Because at some point I need to make some chairs.
No. Keep working on the jigs. The jigs are so nice. They're I'll tell you what, the 3D printing, that angle that you did,
Yeah.
That came out really nice. That was a very well 3D printed.
Yeah. See, I just did a plate and that attached to the little wooden thing for the angle gauge for the seat drilling guide. So, I made one that was all encompassing, that was, completely 3D printed. It worked fine, but I just didn't like the way it turned out. I think I mentioned that before. It just didn't have the heft. But I know Ramon Valdez has, his domino dock that he's famous for. So he's just come out with a 3D printed version of his domino dock that looks really interesting and has some different ways to attach it. You can actually use, I forgot who makes it, but it's the expanding dogs that will go into like a 3/4 20 millimeter dog hole that you can actually, mount it that way, or you can just clamp it to your bench like you would the original domino dock. But anyway, so I've been texting back and forth with him about a couple of things, like how's he doing that? What
he's a clever dude.
Yeah.
I've watched my YouTube. He's really cool.
Yeah.
Stuff that he comes up with.
Yeah. And Ramon is we need to have him back on the show. He is such a great guy. I mean, I ask him like a, simple question. I get like a 2-paragraph response.
Right. Well, he's like, it kind of reminds me of like a cross between woodworking and Harry Potter, just like stuff he comes up with is like, it's pretty cool.
I was thinking Arnold Schwarzenegger, but
well, right.
Anyway, well, with that, Austin, what are you working on?
Yeah, I've got a couple designs that I'm working on for some clients, but what I've been spending a lot of my time with lately is actually a lot more on the cabinetry side of things, investing time and learning Mosaic, the software program.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's CAD program specifically for cabinets, and it's great, but it is massive, and there's a lot that you can get into to the much more technical advanced side of designing CAD drawings and CNC files and all the kind of shop drawings that people need to build them. So for myself and then for other builders here in town, so I've been learning that and starting to do drawings for other people.
Oh, nice.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I've heard of Mosaic, but that's all I have is I've heard about it. So yeah, it's primarily CNC type based stuff. So for cabinets and stuff like that.
You can, the first job I did with it, you draw them and then you do something called optimize. You optimize them for either a CNC or a table saw. So the first project I did was just on the table saw, and it will lay everything out on the sheets for you still. But it's you're ripping this all yourself, and then you're going to cross cut it, and here's the steps to do so. But it lays it out like you would your tool pathing for a CNC machine.
Okay, right.
Well, that's really cool. So it's basically a sheet work, like we're working with like a plywood substrate to like form your shape kind of thing, like cabinets would be, right? And so you say, here's my design, and how can I make this out of a sheet of X?
Right, but way more robust than that on the front end.
Yeah.
That's fully designing. So right now, I don't have it in front of me. Like I was from a friend that I'm designing for a house that has 25 elevations, so 25 walls of cabinets in this one house.
Oh my gosh.
So, some of them are face frame, some are skinny shaker, frameless, and you've got different styles, and you're putting in different materials and then different textures to them. And you draw all of that, but in a very, very quick way. And you've already programmed how that gets built with your construction style. And then you can essentially then export that to the CNC.
Huh. That's cool. So you can tell if it's like screw joinery or tongue and groove or something like that. And it does it kind of like lays it out for you.
Yeah. So there's a number of construction methods that are already programmed in there from, butt joints and lamellos and all different kind of connectors to like what I use is like a qualified tenon. So it's kind of a half thickness tenon that goes from the bottom or the top into the sides. And so you can do it on a CNC very quickly and efficiently. And then it's kind of foolproof when you install it.
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, with that, let's talk about the Texas Woodworking Festival.
Sure.
So before I ask you a bunch of questions, let's get all the details out. So tell us, dates, times, locations, stuff like that.
It's in Texas.
Okay.
It's a festival
of
woodworking.
Yeah.
just so everybody understands what's happening. The show is always usually in September. So this year it is the 26th and 27th. The difference being from prior years, we started last year, we're doing that half day of content on that Friday. So technically it's the 25th and 26th and 27th.
Yeah.
But the only thing happening on the 25th is that half day of influencer or content creator education in the education space. So the exhibition floor is not open till Saturday, the 26th.
Okay. Gotcha. Now what is taking place on the 25th? You said it's more of like influencer, like YouTubers, that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
So if you're one of those people or interested in being one of those people,
aspiring content creators.
Yeah.
And it's not only relevant to woodworkers. We definitely skew that direction, and most of the people that we bring in for that are in the woodworking or DIY genre, and then our content creators or furniture makers that have a big content presence. And so the sessions that they're going to do on Friday are geared towards social media or marketing and advertising, online and kind of promoting yourself, but something that would be very relevant to someone that's trying to grow their business using digital avenues.
Yeah. Now I noticed you already have a number of exhibitors lined up. I'm sure there are more to come, and as well as educational stuff. But can you give us a little sneak peek into what's coming up so far? Let's start with the educational. So I assume it's going to be like in years past. There's like 2 different levels of tickets. You can either buy one for the educational track, which also gets you into the show on the floor in the marketplace, or you can just buy a ticket for the marketplace, which also has some educational stuff there on the main stage.
Well, yeah. So we still have the EDU ticket, and that's kind of the all access, to all of the sessions. And then also last year, the new thing that we did was a new ticketing software that then allowed for us to sell those sessions individually.
Oh,
so
okay.
You can sign up for individual classes. If you only want to take one and participate in one, then that's fine. You can do so. Obviously, the more you buy, the price goes down. So there's a quantity discount, and of course, the education pass is going to be the most bang for your buck. You're going to get access to all of those, and it's far cheaper than sign up for just one.
Yeah. Now, you're still going to record those and post those out?
Yep. So the Texas Woodworking Festival .video is the video site where anybody can go and check those out. And the videos are included with the education pass. All the other ones, you just get access to the session that you're in, but then you could, of course, buy access to it later. So anyone can see the videos from 2026, but also from last year and the year before.
Yeah. And if you're interested, I encourage you to go out there and take a look at them, because there's some great presentations there, and it's relatively inexpensive to take a look at them too, if you just want to buy that one or something like that. So, and with that, I must add that, that is one of the greatest things about the Texas Woodworking Festival and the educational track, is having these presentations videoed and then posted somewhere, because I've been to many conferences where they may video them, but it's just there to, put it up on the big screen or something like that. They don't actually record them. And you can sometimes get in this says, well, I really want to go to this presentation, but I'm going to miss this one over here. This one you don't have to worry about. Or if, you're in the marketplace and you're talking with somebody, you don't have to worry about, I got to break off this conversation because the class is starting in 5 minutes. You can always go in a little late. And then if you miss something, you can go back and watch it on the video and stuff. So that is fantastic. Hey, Future Kyle here. I just want to let you know that Austin has offered our listeners a 10% discount. Just use the code MWAP10 at checkout to get 10% off your tickets. Again, that code is MWAP10, and I'll put a link in the show notes. Where's the venue at? Is it?
So here in Austin, Texas, at the Palmer Event Center.
Okay. Same bat channel, same bat time, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a great location, and we know them and how to kind of operate within the venue, and there's lots of space there for us to expand. So as the event grows, then we still have a good place to be at. Okay.
And who are your big sponsors this year so far?
So the Active Interest Media Group. So that's Fine Woodworking Home Magazine, Fine Home Building Magazine, and those are coming in as our kind of main sponsor for this year. And then, of course, there's smaller sponsorships that we have that are kind of the individual physical aspects of the event, whether that's like lanyards or badges or things like that. So those are the ones that you'll see kind of at the event that we'll be promoting.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Well, what can you tell us about the educational track at this point? I know a lot of that's probably still being finalized and things, but
yeah, so we're going to be posting the classes. They're going to go on session, or the sessions will go on sale May 1st. So that's coming up pretty quick. And there'll be several from different types of joints to business topics, very specific to woodworking, not necessarily just the content influencer stuff that's on Friday. Then,
I know a birdie told me that David Duyard may be doing a presentation there.
yes.
Was that bird's name David?
It could be David.
So he'll be doing 2, potentially 3 sessions on chair joints and then chair angles. And we've got a Canadian gentleman coming down to talk about a modern workbench, and then he's doing another fun class. We're going to do a class on cove cutting, which I think will be really interesting.
Oh, that's cool. So like cove cutting on the table saw?
Yes.
Oh, that
yes.
scary
So
thing where you like tilt things and run them across a blade. Oh boy,
that's neat. I've seen it done, and everyone says it's extremely safe and easy to do. I've never done it though.
Yeah. I've done it several times. It's I think what's going to be what we have to figure out for the festival is whether we're actually going to do it in the field. It's really dusty. That's the problem.
Very dusty.
You know, it can be done very safely, but it's the dust that I think will be the big issue that we'll have to figure out if we're actually going to do it, or very much the cooking show style, and then you run it over.
Ta-da. Yeah, that is dusty. Have you seen them do the bowls on the table saw? So it's kind of like the cove cutting, but you
just plunge it around and spin it.
Yeah. That's
I haven't tried that one.
No.
Again, looks frightening.
Yes.
Yeah. And we've got Andrew Hunter coming again. It's been a couple of years since he's been down here, so we'll be doing some topics on Japanese woodworking and joinery.
Yeah, we just had Owen Madden on, and he had nothing but praise for Andrew Hunter and all the stuff that he does and his approach to woodworking.
Yeah, he's great and has a great mentality and demeanor, and kind of has a really good vibe in all of his classes. Such a great instructor that really just wants to share all of his knowledge and experiences, and it's great.
Well, fantastic. Well, so what about the exhibitors? Who've you got lined up so far? I went through the list, and there's some fascinating people there, and a lot of them, I think it's a feather in your cap is, you have so many repeat exhibitors too. So that's always fantastic. I know like the Bad Axe folks are going to be there. The Boss Dog Glue Company is going to be there, and all kinds of interesting stuff. Our sponsor, Sutherland Wells, I think this will be their second year. So, that's just a testament to the show and how well it's received by the not only the woodworking community, but also the woodworking supplier community, so to speak.
Yeah. A lot of the usual suspects and hand tools and machinery and finishes, but there's quite a few new ones as well. And we've been trying to focus a lot on trying to get more pros to the show. So bigger tools into the cabinetry world a little bit. So Revashelf is going to be there. We've been talking to them about some fun stuff to do, and even some classes that they might do at the show. All of us probably work on our own cabinets at home, so seeing their great hardware and lighting in person, I think, is going to be great. Then there's one company I'm interested to see what they end up bringing, Makers Med. So Michael Alm is involved with them in some way. He was the one that kind of brought them to get a booth, but it's essentially a first aid kit specifically for woodworkers and things that are very common injuries and potentially into the triage level that you would want specifically for a first aid kit in a woodworking shop.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah. Yeah. Cause I know there's been a lot of stuff like that, but no one's put together an actual kit for woodworkers. I know it's common in some other sports and stuff like that, but not for woodworking. I think Lost Art Press had a book about, first aid and stuff like that. And, after looking at that, I'm going, well, half the stuff I have in my first aid kit is not relevant. And those kind of things. So yeah, it's kind of cool. So yeah, I'd be looking forward to that. And let's see who else. I also saw that Tormac is going to be there.
Yeah. So they'll be doing some
Yeah.
sharpening. Hopefully not sharpening and cutting any fingers, or they'll have to swing by the maker.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen them have a booth anywhere. So that could be interesting.
They have a rep that's in Austin, so they come to the show on a regular basis.
Okay. Fantastic. And the Purple Heart Project people are going to be there. That's always an inspiring to talk to them and stuff like that. And,
sure.
And who else did I see that kind of interests me? Oh, yes. We're going to talk about them in the next episode, but the VacuDog products.
Yes. I'm not super familiar with all of their products. So it's when we get those new exhibitors, then those are the booths I go to first to see what's happening and take photos and do some posts about them.
Exactly. Well, we'll talk about them in a few minutes, but that is absolutely exciting. Well, so what's different this year than from past years of the Texas Woodworking?
Yeah, I mean, we're leaning into a lot of the education that has always seemed to be one of the more desired aspects of the show. So there'll be bigger and better education and kind of trying to add a physical classroom to the exhibition floor, where you would be able to go to an exhibitor's booth and sign up for a class that they're going to have at a particular time. And then you would show up kind of behind the stage in an area and participate in a exhibitor sponsored class, as it were. So you're working specifically with their products. And, that's something that we've really tried to steer away from in the education that we're curating. We're paying for those speakers to be there. So we try to keep that brand agnostic, as it were. So then the classroom space would be specifically, hey, I want to see this tool by ABC company, and they're doing a class on setting this thing up. And you can sign up for that class and take their class at a particular time that they've designated.
Yeah. I think before we were talking, you also brought up a little fun activity for participants.
Right. Yeah. If you're not having fun, then what's the point? So we as woodworkers and makers need to have some fun around woodworking. So this year we are going to do the first ever makers pinewood derby, and it's going to be interesting. I'm not really sure how many people are going to sign up, but I do next to me have a brand new Graco sprayer that's going to be one of the prizes, and I'm working on some other prizes that will
nice.
Just be a fun kind of very low barrier to entry pinewood derby for adults. Kids, of course, can do it as well, but we're not doing any age categories. It's just really going to be the kind of by the rules speed category, and then the creativity category. There'll be some regulations so it actually fits on the track, but you're a woodworker, whatever you want to send down the track, that's up to you.
It's a standard track, right? Where are you getting the track from?
Well, and that's where I thought my idea would die really quickly, but then I Googled it, and there's a place in Austin that rents pinewood derby tracks. So
fantastic.
Very convenient.
So it's standard, because I've seen people take these things to the limit, like going from an upper balcony and down like a major track, as opposed to what the scouts do, which is like more of a reasonable, maybe a 4-foot fall as it goes down the track, whatever. I don't
know the elevation, but it's about 30 feet long, and it comes with a TV and lasers and
wow,
okay, everybody. And come and set it up, and then we run it during the show, and then they'll come back and pick it up later.
Light years ahead of what I did when I was a kid.
Yes.
I mean, I was thinking you could just be the stopwatch guy to verify the time.
That's what it used to be.
Okay. So I assume you're going to be posting rules and weight limits and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm working on all the details on that, and we'll have those posted along with the tickets, hopefully.
Okay. Fantastic. That that's going to be fun. That's going to be fun. I can't wait to see that. Well, I have some more interesting questions for you. Exactly, since this is what, the 8th annual, or is this the 8th?
This is the 7th time.
Seventh time.
Year or so, 7th time.
That's right. Well, based on that, so some listeners that might not have been around that long listening to the podcast, but tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create the Texas Woodworking Festival in the first place.
Yeah, in a weird way, I kind of think it created itself. We had this idea in the woodworking club that I started to try to get all of the woodworking clubs in town to get together. So at the time, there was my drinking club that occasionally talked about woodworking, and there was the Fine Woodworkers of Austin, and there was a turning club and a carvers club. So the idea was, hey, let's have one club meeting a year where all the clubs get together. And it didn't really interest the other clubs, which was fine. I'm not really sure why, but we got one of them to come, and then somehow Harvest Lumber Company and Birdall Sawmill heard about it, and Toolmarks heard about it, and so they had a table, and we had 5 exhibitors.
Yeah,
you had out.
Yeah, the first one you had, I know Texas Heritage was there, and they're going to be here at the new one. But I remember helping Jason unload his truck. I think my back still hurts from helping him unload his truck.
Oh man!
Anyway. Because the first one was in the upstairs of a bar, so not only did you have to navigate getting there, but then you had to navigate the stairs going up.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the owner telling us that we had exceeded the fire code of the upstairs area, and then we maxed out the fire code of the downstairs area, and they had to get a bouncer, and they said they've never had a bouncer ever, just because they had to do 1 in, 1 out for a woodworking event. And it was pretty obvious that people liked it and wanted, more woodworking social events. So that was kind of the birth of it. And then we just have slowly expanded each year to be what it is now at the Palmer Event Center.
Yeah, and that's a perfect location for it. It's real great. You got food there on site, plus you got barbecue right across the street.
I was gonna say Terry Black is right across the street. I've been there.
It's good stuff. So yeah, that's a perfect place for it. So tell us about how you're doing as far as putting this together, as far as balancing the educational aspect as well as with the community and the market aspects of the event. So what goes into that? And with that, go into a little bit about how you organize this event. What's it like? I don't think most people realize all the hard work that goes into organizing something like this.
Yeah. Thousands of emails. I wish it was easier every year, but it doesn't really seem that way, just because there are always new aspects and new people that are involved with the show, from the exhibitors to the educators. So it's a lot of communication, and especially when you're reaching out to exhibitors, it's a lot of non-communication, or one-way communication. But then once you speak to people and once you can kind of tell them about the show, then things kind of naturally work their way out, and then we process exhibitors and get them signed up, and then kind of once we're working with the exhibitors to get them going, and then I switch focus to get the tickets ready, and then that goes on sale and we start promoting those, and then it kind of goes back to the logistics of, okay, where are these tables going to be, and where's this section going to be, and what information does the fire marshal need for our event, and this and that. And so yeah, there's a massive checklist that we have every year of things that we have to kind of go through and just make sure that we've checked in on, of, do we have extra batteries for this particular card reader, or paper and printers and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it. It seems to get more organized every year, but I think the scope gets bigger, and so it seems more and more difficult each year.
Yeah, well, I've noticed that, and like I said, it's a testament to all the hard work that you put in doing this over the few years, but all the exhibitors used to be regional based, and now they're national based. It just keeps growing and growing and growing, and that is just fantastic. And I think on the website, if you're local to the Texas area and you want to be a volunteer, I think you have a link on there where if you want to volunteer for the show, you certainly can.
Yeah, we usually have 20 to 25 volunteers, and that gets you a free ticket. And you might sit in a chair for 4 hours, or you might scan badges. It's kind of just being available for whatever we might need you to be. We've got spots in the retail store. We need a volunteer for the Pinewood Derby this year, so I think Sean already volunteered himself for that.
Oh gosh, I'll see if I can make it, but I would definitely do that. I would definitely be there because I'm a man on the run, so I could definitely help out.
That's right. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to let Diami know about that because, he's Mr. Pinewood Derby. But, well, tell us, do you have any favorite behind the scenes stories from past festivals? And, just don't mention, someone that was supposed to be there that broke his collarbone 2 weeks before the show.
Hey,
It totally threw a wrench into your planning. I'm certain at the last minute.
Behind the scenes story. I've heard of celebrities coming to the Texas Woodworking Festival, but I have never seen them there. But I have seen photos of some. I think that was 2 years ago. Apparently, Adrian Grenier stopped by, and he was on HBO's Entourage and a few different TV shows and things like that.
Oh wow!
He's here in Austin. Still working on Nick Offerman. That hasn't happened yet, but fingers crossed. 2026 will be the year.
All right.
Fantastic. Yes. Now Nick Offerman, he did do a speech at I think it was the first Fine Woodworking Live. And
yeah, he was the keynote, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was the keynote. And that was kind of controversial for that audience. So anyway.
Yeah, he's a little blue for the elderly, shall we say?
Hey, I resemble that remark.
Yeah, you do.
That's all right. We keep it a little weirder down here, so I think he'd be all right.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, so you mentioned exhibitors. So what are some of the opportunities you think the festival offers for the small woodworking business or independent makers that might want to, ply their wares there at the festival?
Yeah. If you're an attendee, the exhibitors are going to kind of approach their booths in a number of ways, whether they are selling individual items. There'll be show sales on those items that you can get things for a great price that you might not be able to otherwise. The larger ticket items, they may have one or two of those there, or they may have just more information and they're showing components and techniques of those. Or, there are companies that do have machines that they're wanting to not ship back to their warehouse, where you can even get those at a good discount at the show. And then you're going to have woodworkers and different makers of tools and machines showing techniques of how to, if you already have this particular tool or machine, how do you take it up to the next level? Maybe here's these accessories that we have. So it's a lot of hands-on activity, education within the booths. We encourage exhibitors to do raffles and games and kind of activities that they want to do within their space. And then, of course, get attendees using the machines and tools within reason and get some experience with those.
Yeah. Do you know if we're going to have spoon carving again this year?
Yep. We're talking to Kim McIntyre to come down to the show and do that. And we'll probably be doing some hand playing in the booth and some marquetry as well, and kind of fun, small woodworking activities that will be in the Austin School of Furniture booth.
Fantastic. Well, if someone's listening to this and they want to become an exhibitor, how do they reach out to you?
There's a link. TexasWoodworkingFestival.com. And then in the menu, there's a Become an Exhibitor tab that will take you to the application page and give us a little bit of information about who you are and what you're doing, and we'll reach back out.
All right. Anything else about the Texas Woodworking Festival we haven't covered that you'd like to share?
Just that everybody should come. I think it's a great time and it's a lot of fun, and we try to make it have a really good environment and vibe, and kind of make it a opportunity to meet those individuals you might have seen on a YouTube video or on Instagram, or you've read an article by them in Fine Woodworking Magazine. we just want it to be that gathering place of woodworkers where everybody can have fun, but then can also maybe get a little tax write-off for business expenses to buy some woodworking tools.
Exactly. And again, that's going to be September 26th and 27th for the main show, and then September 25th is for the influencer track, our educational opportunity.
There you go. Yeah.
So, and that's all taking place in Austin, Texas. And according to your website, as we're recording this, we're 162 days away. So
it's coming up.
It'll be here before you know it. Well, before we let you go, a couple of things. I know you've kind of stepped away from the Austin School of Furniture, but I believe you're still on the board, so to speak. So what's happening over there at the Austin School of Furniture?
Yeah. We just got our first big grant. And so we're trying to get all of the ducks in a row for accepting that money. And
well, great. Congratulations.
Yeah. It took a long time, and we're excited to start using that money for some pretty great things. We've got different programs that we've never done before, where it's Spanish language woodworking classes and ASL woodworking classes, to building handicap accessible workbenches for some of our hand tool classes, and then down to replacing a machine or two that may need to go on to its next adventure with somebody else, and we can upgrade a few things here and there, and just general operating fund, paying for materials. So there's a lot that's going to do and be very impactful for the school. So I'm excited for that to come through. And there's always new classes. The new managing director is doing a great job putting up new classes and new styles of classes that are covering different topics that we haven't covered in the past, with new teachers, and then obviously keeping some of our core classes going to keep on educating folks here in town. And
y'all still located at the same place?
Yep. Yeah, we just renewed our lease, so we're still in South Austin.
Fantastic. And it's real close to Leroy and Lewis's barbecue place, which is fantastic.
Can't beat it.
Well, what are you doing woodworking wise? You mentioned you're doing this stuff with the mosaic. You doing any other stuff as far as commissions and stuff like that?
Yeah, so a lot of cabinets, as I mentioned, and then I have started actually teaching at the college. So that's been a new thing this semester, teaching woodworking classes. So expanding what I'm teaching and where I'm teaching, and then commission. So I'm working on a chair design right now.
Are you stepping in Phil Morley's shoes there at the college?
That's a big statement, but it is at ACC. So I randomly will find a piece of wood or something that he wrote on, and it reminds me how much it annoyed me, because he would write on all of our benches and all of our tables instead of using paper. So I was finding marks from Phil from 10 years ago at ACC. But yeah, it's been a really good experience.
Well, that's great. That's fantastic. With that, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I'll start us off. I'm drinking a local beer from the Galveston Brewery Company called Bolivar Blonde. So that's a nice little ale, 5.2%. And Bolivar is actually a peninsula here across from Galveston, and pretty interesting place to visit. They have an old fort there with gun emplacements from like World War II, World War I, when it was doing coastal defense. And to get there, you take a ferry, which is free. There are not many ferries in Texas, but there are like 2 or 3 around the Houston area. So that's always interesting. You can take a ferry over there and see the dolphin. That Jeff, what are you drinking?
Just some coffee from the North Pole in Alaska, North Pole coffee.
Really?
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. A little late for that, but okay.
North Pole coffee, huh?
Yeah. It's right just right next to Fairbanks. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's actually they have like 40 different flavors, and I just get the mushers blend.
Mushers blend. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little stout. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad. Sean, what are you drinking?
So I picked this up on the way home today, and something new from Dogfish Head that I hadn't seen before. It's their Grateful Dead. I don't know if it's a collaboration or something, but it is a citrus daydream lager.
I saw that here.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, I haven't tried it yet.
Obviously, wide distribution if it's going from Maryland to Ohio and Texas, but definitely different I haven't been to the liquor store in kind of a bit, but it was I was like, oh, that's new. I'll try that, and it's actually nice. It definitely has a lager feel with just a little bit of lime in it, but not like it's not like a total like I like Dogfish's Sequent, which is like a lime almost sour,
Right.
which is a little lighter, and this is a little more lagerish, a little rounder. It's pretty nice.
Okay, so I might actually enjoy that then.
Yeah, grab it. It's not like it's not an IPA by any means. It's a lager. So it's got that kind of like softer kind of tone to it. But still a little refreshing at the same time. Austin, how about you, man?
Real Ale Brewing, the Fresh Kicks Hazy IPA they have.
Real REAL or REEL?
REAL.
Okay.
They're in
there's a ploy on
Blanco, I think.
Yeah, I think Blanco, something like that. Yeah, they're a Texas brewery. Yeah, I've seen their stuff. Yeah.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty solid. A little hazy.
Great. Well, with that, Austin, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, all things Texas Woodworking Festival are at texaswoodworkingfestival.com. Videos are at texaswoodworkingfestival.video. Same for Texas Woodworking Festival on all socials. And if you want to follow me, see some of my furniture, that's just Waldo Furniture Company. So I think on Instagram it's just Waldo Furniture.
And with that, let's move on into some feedback. So we're talking about episode 600 and 601 with Andy Jack. Camber Altier, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, which I'm probably not, says, it was great to hear some of Andy's story and to hear that I'm not alone with the shop move chaos. Looking forward to the 5 questions and keep up the good work, fellows. Robert Tolnai, great friend of the show, says, you guys are hitting some home runs with the interview lineups. And Benjamin Allen Furniture says, I enjoyed both episodes with Andy, and his enthusiasm for the craft is palpable. By the way, congrats on reaching 600 episodes. Thanks so much, Ben. And Bill Jard says, it's another fantastic show, guys. Curtis Buchanan has a lot to answer for, and keep up with the fine work that you do. Also looking forward to the next episode of This Old House podcast. So we want to thank everyone for their comments. And if you would like to leave a comment, the best place you can do that is over at our Instagram, which is at MWA_podcast. And please leave us a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. That really helps the show get in front of other folks. And thanks so much. And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.